Welcome back, Patriots, to the Ball Brad Show. It is Wednesday, May 29th. And as always, Joe Biden is still, by far, not even close, the worst president in American history. Patriots, it's great being back with you on this fine Wednesday morning. And boy, oh boy, do we have a jam-packed episode for y'all today. So buckle up, because it is a roller coaster of a ride. Before we jump into any of it, though, support us by watching this video all the way through from beginning to end without pausing or skipping forward. YouTube does capture analytics, and if they see enough people engaging with the channel by not only watching all the way through, but hitting that like button and a comment down below, they will actually push our videos out there to new viewers who haven't seen our content or our channel. So you on an individual level really make or break things getting pumped out to new viewers for us. So if you kindly could watch all the way through, your help and support would be greatly appreciated. Well, folks, buckle up, because we got a banger of a lead story for y'all today. With all these illegal immigrants pouring across the border, we've said time and time again, it's only a matter of time when a terrorist attack takes place on U.S. soil. But here's the thing. What if a terrorist attack already took place and you never knew about it? What if a terrorist attack took place in Quantico and the Biden administration is covering it up? What if the mainstream media is working with the Biden administration to cover up a terrorist attack on U.S. soil? Well, right here, the Washington Post is saying that there's the potential for the Biden administration to be covering up an attempted terror attack by illegal immigrants. So by refusing repeated chances to answer simple questions about a May 3rd incident at Quantico, a Marine base, the Biden administration has essentially confirmed one of America's worst and most politically consequential nightmares related to the ongoing border crisis. And it is a crisis. The Biden administration won't even acknowledge that. The Biden administration, at best, says it's a challenge. At worst, it's just a situation, according to them. It's never been a crisis. 2 illegal immigrants just attempted a terror attack on U.S. soil. Now, this isn't like a conservative piece, folks. This comes from the Washington Post. We know that a Jordanian who illegally crossed the border joined up with another Jordanian who had overstayed his visa, both illegals, and drove a box truck to the gates of Quantico. Now, what were they doing? Oh, well, they were just claiming to be Amazon delivery drivers, just dropping off a few packages, and tried to access a site that houses the FBI Training Academy, military officer training schools, and military criminal investigations and intelligence commands. Quick thinking military police stopped the truck and just charged the men with trespassing before turning them over to the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Now, what happened next, you might be asking? What's really going on here? Well, we don't know. They're being tight-lipped about it. The government refuses to say either of these men were on the terrorist watch list, if they ever made any confessions under custody, or even if they are being deported. They're not saying anything about it. Major cover-up, in my opinion, taking place. Can you imagine the political backlash on this if this was a terrorist attack and the Biden administration was covering up? We know they've covered up stuff in the past. Not only look what they're doing with their own family, but on top of that, look what they did with the classified documents. We know of 5 separate times that Karine Jean-Pierre knew about the classified documents in the Biden Penn Center, Biden House, hell, next to Joe Biden's Corvette, and she withheld it from the American people, the American public, and the American press, and she lied to them about it. We know multiple occasions of which the Biden administration has covered up stuff, and we expose them here on the Ball Brad Show, and we're exposing them again because I think there was a terrorist attack or an attempted one, and they're trying to cover it up. So, in fact, authorities didn't even acknowledge the incident took place, you guys. Since then, the White House and ICE have had every opportunity to deny what seems obvious, but have not done so. Why is that the case? You know, in the same way they're covering up the pipe bombs that were outside the RNC and the DNC, the fact that the pipe bomb was next to actual pedestrians and children, next to the incoming Vice President Kamala Harris. You don't really hear anything about that, do you? So there's a lot of cover-ups going on here, a lot of insane bleep taking place. And again, I think that they know that the political backlash would be a campaign ruiner for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, because we've said this would happen. We've been waiting for something like this to happen. Not that we want it to happen, but we've been waiting for it to happen because we know there's terrorists in this country present time. We know there's people here that want to harm Americans. Quote, Given that it's an active law enforcement matter, I would have to refer you to ICE. This comes from Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary, who's an absolute nut job and actually can't do her job, but yet she gets paid $180,000 to do it. I just can't dive into that again because there's a law enforcement matter at hand. Now, consider that since 9/11 attacks, the federal authorities, the American people, have kind of come to an agreement, but that agreement's now broken in terms of what's going on with domestic terrorism as well as international terrorism. We know there's a lot of people out there that want to hurt us. We know that the Iranians, the Chinese, hell, all these other foreign countries, our adversaries, are funneling through the southern border, not just with drugs, but actual terrorists, again, that want to harm us. Now, what's the end goal to all this? Obviously, it's not just a cover-up, right? The cover-up makes sense because, again, the political backlash would just destroy Joe Biden's campaign. But if you look at it, what's the end goal of the Democrat Party? The end goal is to give all these people amnesty. Now, Joe Biden has come out and said it himself that he wants to give everybody that came before his presidency and during his presidency amnesty. We've covered it here on the show. We've given the exact quotes from Joe Biden himself. But here's Chuck Schumer saying the exact same thing, that the end goal is to give all these people citizenship. Here we go.
Now more than ever, we're short of workers. We have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here. Now more than...
You got to love how it goes, well, however many undocumented people are here, try like 25 plus million, Chuck. The dude doesn't have a clue. It's astonishing that he uses 11 million. Talk about decades old number. 11 million is poured across since Joe Biden's been in office. The dude doesn't have a clue, and these are the people running government. These are the people that are telling you what your taxes should be. These are the people telling you how to run your business. Well, we don't have enough people giving birth, so we just got to allow people to roll in illegally. Again, Democrats confusing migrants, immigrants, with legal versus illegal. Massive difference between the two. We would love to take the world's best immigrants, as long as they come here legally, into our country so that we can continue to be the best country out there. But it's truly astonishing. And Elon Musk had it right here. The fact that some people think this is a crazy conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. Democrats still to this day tell me that what you just heard is not true. That is not the end goal of the Democrat Party. Of course it is, because it all rolls into votes at the end of the day. They're going to give these people amnesty, and all these people, 25 million, are going to vote for the Democrat Party. Folks, that's more than half of our states and population. You'll never see a Republican elected in your lifetime again. Truly, truly wild stuff. And speaking of wild stuff, we got a question regarding illegal immigration being presented to Karine Jean-Pierre here during yesterday's White House press briefing. Let's roll it.
Josh. Can you give us the President's latest thinking on the border EO and what actions he plans to take? You've taken smaller, targeted actions in the past few weeks.
Yeah.
How's it looking?
So look, you're right. The president has taken some actions, not just the past 2 weeks, but over the last 3 years to deal with what we're seeing at the...
What actions? What actions? You guys let me know in the comment section or live chat. What actions is Joe Biden doing that's going to solve this matter? It's like a massive forest fire in front of you, and some dude takes a bucket of water and throws it at the forest fire. Well, I did something. Look, I threw a bucket of water that evaporated before it even hit the ground or the fire. Did anything for it to solve it. It's the same thing here. Well, Joe Biden showed up and took a nap at the border, but he went to the border. These people are idiots.
Border, a decades long issue with a broken system at the border. As you know, just last week, that legislation, that bipartisan legislation that we believed if the president had an opportunity to sign that legislation would have been the toughest, the fairest piece of legislation that we have seen to deal with the border in some time. And so it failed because Republicans, by their own admission, are putting electoral politics ahead of the American people. And there were things in that legislation that would have made a difference.
No, there's not. We've covered it. Actually, we've covered it since they've been in office. We've showed the plasma TVs behind her multiple times, showing their plan. None of it actually solves this issue at all. It's just a waste of taxpayer dollars. I think it's great to add more Border Patrol agents. Nothing in that plan, you guys, talk about building a border wall. Nothing in that plan actually solved. Talk about deporting all the people that are here illegally. None of it solves an issue whatsoever. It's a waste of your taxpayer dollars. And they keep saying, well, we're spending money on it. You know, we're trying to fix the issue. You can fix the issue. He just doesn't want to do it. We've covered that ad nauseum here on the show.
And so it is unfortunate that happened. And you saw from the president's statement, congressional Republicans do not care about securing the border or fixing America's broken immigration system. If they did, they would have voted for the toughest border enforcement in history. That comes directly from the president in a statement.
Didn't we spend 4 years under Donald Trump being called racists and misogynistic, sexist, bigots, homophobes, all this crazy shit, xenophobes, because we want to sit there and build a border wall? But yet your party, Karine, sat there and did nothing but push back on Republicans for wanting to build a border wall and solving the immigration crisis that was also taking place under Barack Obama. You see a theme here where Democrats consistently allow illegal immigration. Even before, by the way, one of their base ideologies was not for illegal immigration. You look at Clinton, the hell Clinton said. Look at Barack Obama's speeches before he became president, was actually against illegal immigration. But they understand what the end goal here is. They're working in unison as a party to give these people amnesty at some point in the future because they know they just collected 25 plus million votes. What she's doing here is disgusting. It's evil. It's wrong. And it's astonishing the fact that she's going to gaslight the American people and tell us, well, it's Republicans' fault. Republicans don't want to solve illegal immigration. Are you stupid? Donald Trump literally has been running on illegal immigration for years now. He fixed it. And lo and behold, all of a sudden you screwed it up again and go, well, it's a decade, so a problem. It's been going on for decades. Like I said, Democrats want 4 more years of this, you guys. 4 more years, another 25 million people pouring across the border potentially.
We will continue, to your question, we'll continue to evaluate all options at hand and looking at what we can do within our authorities, within the president's authorities. Don't have anything to announce at this time, but it is unfortunate that Republicans who came to the table, who wanted to work out and deal with an issue, a challenging issue, the border, they voted against.
I told you it was a challenge. Did I not say in the initial piece, we found out there's a possible terrorist attack that took place and the Biden administration is covering it up, that it's not a crisis according to them. It's just a challenger situation. I told you this is their verbiage. This is what they classify at. It's not a problem to them, you guys. It's just a situation. It's just a challenge. Don't worry, they got it covered. They're going to look at all their options. Folks, it's written into law through the executive branch that they could figure this out tomorrow, like right now. They just don't want to do it. And that's a simple answer.
Against their own policies, their own interests, and put electoral politics first, and that is unfortunate.
Are you of the mind, though, that an EO, like one sort of big
We're going to look at
is the option,
like,
or more piecemeal?
like we continue to do, and we have done, and you just mentioned just recently we've taken some actions. We are going to look at all of our options and try to figure out what is the right thing to do on behalf of the American people. That is something that the president has been consistent on and will continue to do. Okay, Jared.
It's astonishing. It really is. Well, we're going to do what's good for on behalf of the American people. Yeah, increase their taxes in localities and states so they could pay for illegal immigration's housing, their education, their apartment, hell, their lawyer fees, their food, their shelter, their clothing. It's astonishing, but they're going to do what's best for you guys. Okay, sure they are. Nothing that Joe Biden has done is working out for you guys. And she just got shellacked yesterday. I mean, what I'm about to show you guys is clip after clip after clip from yesterday's White House press briefing to really show that this administration is not for the American people. They're not for America. And Karine Jean-Pierre blatantly sucks at her job. So this first clip here is Karine Jean-Pierre won't rule out Biden attempting to pack the Supreme Court with far-left activist judges or attempt to impose term limits on the court because he disagrees with some of their rulings. Truly astonishing clip. Holy crap, here we go.
Given the makeup of this court and other controversial rulings that this president has condemned, does the president have faith in this court? Does he have faith in the court? And would he consider publicly supporting what some Democrats are calling for, which is reform of the Supreme Court, whether that be expansion of membership or term limits?
So look, I don't have any announcement to make at this time on your question about reform, but I think I made this announcement last week about what the president has worked very hard to do in partnership with the Senate is making sure that we nominate extraordinarily qualified men and women and who are dedicated to the Constitution and who represent, right? We're talking about representation of the diversity of this country, the diversity of America. And that's a commitment that he's made. And just like
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for that word diversity because she's a diversity hire. It's not about your qualifications. It's not about the fact that you know what you're doing. It's just about the color of your skin. That's all it is. You check off all the boxes of the diversity. Are you gay, a lesbian, pansexual? Are you black, Hispanic, Asian? Anything other than white? Are you checking off the boxes for us to have somebody as a diversity hire that represents the entire nation. What a remarkable statement to say that the color of your skin has to be representative in proportion of the entire United States. But that's Democrat thinking. That is a progressive left-leaning thinking. And that's why she got her job. And if you want to see the outcome of somebody that's a diversity hire, look none other than Karine Jean-Pierre. And she sucks ass. She is terrible. Now, Karine Jean-Pierre says Biden's views Kamala as a partner and believes she is effective. Folks, she's the border czar. She was put in position to fix the border, and it's only gotten worse under her rule. Here we go.
She's a partner. He believes she's effective. He believes that when he talks about policy, when he gets things done on the American people, he's doing that in partnership with the vice president. As it relates to how voters are feeling, battleground states, I just can't speak to that from here.
You can't speak to that from here because none of the polls are going your way. Everybody thinks you suck. Even your own party thinks you suck. Your own party doesn't even want you to run again, Karine, meaning the Biden administration. Everybody sees what the hell is going on is terrible. Now, Biden has taken some actions, which you saw at the border, which is completely false. The actions that he has taken is absolutely dismantling what Trump put in place. He did that in his first 100 days of office and has completely ruined the social fabric of this country, has completely ruined what's going on at the border. And as we saw in our first segment, if you're still joining us, there's a massive cover-up potentially taking place with the Biden administration on the fact that a terror attack took place at Quantico and nobody's talking about it. We also have Karine Jean-Pierre can't say if Biden has bothered to meet Hunter's love child after Biden spent years refusing to acknowledge the child's existence. Check this one out.
We learned today there's going to be a book coming out this summer by London Roberts. According to the press release, the book is about protecting the long unacknowledged grandchild of the sitting president of the United States. Do you know if President Biden has met that grandchild yet?
I don't have anything to share.
But don't worry, he loves all his children. He loves his family. He loves his son. His son's done nothing wrong. Oh my God. Like, everybody has family problems. I'm not saying that, even my own family or whoever else's family doesn't have problems. We all have problems. But the fact that you're going to refuse to even acknowledge a child's existence is truly a remarkable freaking thing. Now, it's even, we're not done. Oh, no, we are not done. Karine denies that the Biden White House is in full-blown freakout mode as Biden's polling continues to tank. No issues here, folks. It's just another situation. It's just a challenge. Here we go.
In full-blown freakout mode.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
There's a Politico
Peter?
story. It sounds like Democrats outside, the quote is, Biden's stubbornly poor polling and the stakes of the election are creating the freakout.
So, again, I'm going to be mindful. I'm not going to comment on 2024 election. I will say
It's because of the Hatch Act, Peter. I got to be careful of the Hatch Act. We get it. Just answer the question and move on. God.
this. The president has never forgotten where he came from.
Oh, we're not done. That just caught me off guard. Can we go back? Did you hear what she said? Shh, turn it up. Turn it up. Stop talking. Here we go.
I will say this. The president has never forgotten where he came from.
The dude doesn't even remember yesterday. What are you talking about? In his own deposition, he couldn't remember his wife's name, his name. Now, I made that part up, but he legitimately could not remember when his own son died. He didn't remember when he was vice president. Just the other day, Karine, he said that he was vice president during COVID. No, he wasn't. We'll come back. Karine, I drove 18-wheelers. No, you didn't, Joe. I sold Girl Scout cookies for 25 years. No, you didn't. I was an activist for black people and ran the streets with Dr. King. No, you didn't, Joe. I was president back in 1925. No, you weren't. Karine, Joe doesn't remember anything. He doesn't know who he is. Give us a freaking break here.
Who he is. He understands what the American people are going through as they're sitting around the kitchen table. You hear the president talk about his time growing up, where he watched his family having to sit around the kitchen table, making incredibly difficult decisions. And the president has always said he's going to fight for communities that have been forgotten. And you see that in the policies, economic policies that he's put forward. He's going to continue to fight for the middle class. He's going to continue to fight in every way that he can. You heard me at the beginning talk about junk fees, incredibly important. And he's going to continue to fight and to make sure, that corporation greed doesn't continue to take hold. That is something that he's been very clear about, while Republicans are doing the opposite. They put out a policy where they want to give a big tax break to the wealthiest among us, billionaires and corporations.
I know I don't need to tell any of you not to believe what the hell she's spewing out of her mouth, but you guys, she's going to sit there and say, well, we're there for the middle class. Really? Why doesn't everybody just look up what's about to happen to their taxes for next year? Middle class taxes. Well, no, they're not going up, but Joe Biden's removing your deductions. I hope we're all ready to basically owe $1,000 to $2,000 more. To put that in perspective, Americans can't even sit there and obtain an emergency fund of $1,000, but yet Joe Biden has your back of forcing you by removing the deductions to pay the federal government an extra $1,000 to $2,000. Well, I hope you're happy. They're there. They know your kitchen table issues. They understand what you're going through, even though you can't even fill up your own car. And I'm not hounding you. I get it. Well, I'm struggling too myself. You can't fill up your car. Your grocery bill's through the roof. Your mortgage rates are insane. You can't buy a home anywhere across the United States. Illegal immigrants are taking up our homes and our motels. They'll be sure to sit there and kick out our veterans in hotel rooms, which we've seen, and put in illegal immigrants. They'll take care of everybody else because you're a second-class citizen in your own country. But don't worry, Joe Biden totally understands your kitchen table issues, you guys. He totally understands what's going on in the economy. The dude doesn't have a freaking clue. He's so ass backwards. He is so far off his rocker. He's so far gone. It is truly head spinning, the fact that Democrats will show out in the millions to vote for this guy. I mean, just yesterday or like 2 days ago, Don Lemon was on the Nelt Boys podcast going, I'm going to vote for Joey again because he's just doing everything right. The guy, he's there. He gets it. Really? Like, they push back. Thank God the Nelt Boys push back bigly. But, I mean, you have to be so far gone to think that Joe Biden's actually doing a good job. But people will sit there and just fully believe it. No, he's doing great. Everything's fine. Well, I told you we got a jam-packed episode, folks. Take a sip of your coffee if you haven't already. Hit that like and subscribe button. Again, if you want to support the channel, watch this video all the way through. YouTube captures your analytics and combines and says, hey, people are loving this channel, as Donald Trump would say, the best conservative podcast that's really unknown to a lot of people, but we got to make it big. YouTube captured and says, hey, people are hitting that like button. They're leaving comments down below. Let's force us out the new viewers and help this guy's channel grow. Your help and support would be greatly appreciated, folks. Well, if you weren't aware, you had this freaking psycho show up to Donald Trump's court trial and gives a huge speech about it. And that was Mr. Robert De Niro. Now, Robert De Niro is sent on behalf of the Biden campaign to basically give an address outside Donald Trump's trial. And Republican political strategist Karl Rove dressed down President Joe Biden's campaign during a Tuesday morning appearance on Fox News. And that's to say it lightly, saying that they made a stupid mistake in bringing in actor Robert De Niro, who has Trump derangement syndrome. The dude's off his rocker as well, to hold a press conference outside former President Donald Trump's Manhattan hush money trial. What an idiotic thing to do. It just shows how political this whole thing was from the get-go. And I know we're all aware of that, but this hush money trial was a sham. To show how much of a sham it is, without even the fact that Robert De Niro showed up, every time Karine Jean-Pierre was asked the question about Donald Trump's hush money trial, she had a little smirk on her face. You saw Joe Biden make a comment, oh, well, you know, I guess your Wednesdays are free all of a sudden, kind of alluding to the fact that Donald Trump's in Manhattan. He's in the courtroom or not in the courtroom on that day or whatever the hell he's even talking about. Nobody really has a clue. Joe Biden himself doesn't have a clue what the hell he's talking about. But you have Michael Cohen was kind of the strategy guy here, the middleman between supposedly Stormy Daniels and Donald Trump. This dude, Michael Cohen, admitted under oath the fact that he was willing to lie under oath just to get revenge at Donald Trump. He also stole $30,000 from the Trump campaign. So what happened was there's like some sort of IT service that was supposed to take place. He told Donald Trump, well, it cost $50,000 when in reality it only cost $20,000, and he stole the $30,000. And the dude admitted it on the box, like he admitted it under oath. And his lawyer comes out, Michael Cohen's lawyer, and goes, well, he's just more trustworthy now because he was willing to admit his faults. He was willing to admit the fact that he was a liar. These are these people. So you have this stunt, this I mean, this is disgusting stuff. This is some Banana Republic shit, folks. This is something you don't see in America, okay? Rove made the comments during an appearance on America's Newsroom where he told anchor Dana Perino that the press conference had crossed a line, telegraphing that even the Biden campaign understood the political nature of the prosecution against Donald Trump. What I don't think Democrats are aware is that you are just pissing this guy off more, meaning Donald Trump. If you are in any world where you think that this dude isn't going to find an attorney general that's going to do everything that he can to sit there and go after political opponents, the Democrat Party, you're out of your flipping mind. This dude sat there and got pissed off the fact that when there was a correspondence dinner and Barack Obama made a joke to Donald Trump, the fact that he basically would never be president, Donald Trump took that as, well, screw you, I'm going to go be president now, and actually won in 2016. So a little joke like that made Donald Trump president. What do you think Donald Trump's going to do after all this shenanigans is going on with the FBI, the CIA, the Biden administration, the Democrat Party? If you think he's not going to sit there and use these next 4 years to just sit there and uplift the entire government, you got another thing coming to you. Stupid mistake by the Biden campaign. They wanted to get, while all the cameras were there, they wanted to get their moment in the sun, and it was a big mistake. Rove said it politicized the trial. Better to have waited. Absolutely correct. This is a terrible look. Robert De Niro is a nut job. He's a psycho. He's a mediocre actor that sat there and got basically uplifted by Hollywood because he hates Trump. And he's a mediocre actor, in my opinion. I don't think he's that great. He kind of has the same, he's not like a character actor. He's not like a method actor that really gets involved. He's the same guy in like every single thing. I think he used to be good when he was younger, but maybe he's just not my forte. Maybe people love Robert De Niro. I don't think he's that great. And I might just be a little bit biased because he's going after Donald Trump. Maybe he is great, but in my opinion, he's mediocre. He's good. He's mediocre, but he's not great. He's not great. Well, because of this, you guys, because of this trial, yeah, the Secret Service reportedly met with jail officials in New York in anticipation for a possible conviction in former President Donald Trump's hush money case. If Donald Trump gets convicted over this, I would imagine there's going to be an uprising. You think January 6th looked bad? I have a feeling that actual patriots are going to be storming the streets because this is a bullshit case. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it's politicized. And now you have the fact that Robert De Niro standing outside the trial giving some wonky, stupid-ass speech that he could barely get through. And it's probably a speech that Joe Biden was supposed to give. Nobody expects Joe Biden to get through a speech. Well, a corrections source told CBS News that such preparations were underway as the Manhattan trial reached closing arguments and jury deliberations this week. The report said corrections officers would be responsible for protecting any Secret Service agents tasked with safeguarding Trump if he spends any time behind bars. Although the location where Trump might serve jail time remains unclear, CBS noted that shorter sentences can be served at the Rikers Island complex, which was kind of echoed by the mayor, Eric Adams, of New York. The Democrats think this is all funny. It's all fun and games until Donald Trump starts coming for you. Then it's not all fun games anymore. And then all of a sudden you're going to have Democrats going, oh, we didn't do anything wrong. Why is he coming after us? Oh, we're the bad guys. I don't know, maybe because you spent 4+ years going after this man and his family. You fuck with the guy's family. You made a big mistake. And they sat there and raided Mar-a-Lago. They've been going after Ivanka Trump. They've been going after his wife. You're pissing the guy off. He's doing a fabulous job of handling it. And boy, oh boy, you guys are fucked if you think so. Excuse my French, but I think you guys are with me. They are screwed if they think Donald Trump is not going to do anything at all when he becomes president. I think, look, Democrats opened up this door. They opened up Pandora's box. You just screwed over everybody. We've said this time and time again that you shouldn't have done this to a former president. You shouldn't, regardless of whoever it is, you shouldn't have done it because now you just open the doorways for every president going forward in American history to do this to their political opponents. You really botched this job, Democrats. You really screwed over this country and you continue to do it. Wrote an entire book on it called How the Left is Destroying America. The left is an outgrowth of the Democrat Party. We're all tired of their shit. We're tired of the crime. We're tired of the illegal immigration. We're tired of the fraudulent elections. We're tired of their terrible domestic policies. We're tired of their foreign policies. We're tired of their handling of everything here in this government. It shows proof the fact that you have Donald Trump and you have Joe Biden, and you get to weigh them both. You saw what happened under Donald Trump. Great economy, no wars, nothing happening, illegal immigration under control, booming economy, and you have Joe Biden, everything sucks. everybody on the Democrat side of the aisle, somehow, in some way, shape, or form, are still going to show up for Joe Biden. How and why, I don't know, you guys. I'm right there with you. Not a freaking clue. Well, talk about Democrats sucking at their job. Here's Gavin Newsom doing everything he possibly can to get California's legislature to delay a new $25 minimum wage for healthcare workers after Democrats realized it will have larger ramifications for the state budget. They're idiots, you guys. You might be thinking, let's see, you blew $100 billion surplus. That dude on your screen blew $100 billion surplus and blamed it on climate change. That's not a bit. That's not comedy. We watched his words just the other week. He blamed it on climate change. These idiots go, let's raise the healthcare minimum wage to $25. And then they're shocked when it's going to have massive ramifications to the state budget. And these are the people running the show. These are the people that get elected. I'm telling you, I don't understand California voters. I really don't. I really, hand to God, don't understand. I don't need to go any forward with it. California Governor Newsom signed the law back in October, despite warnings from legislative analysts about the high cost to the state itself. It's like these Democrats that go, yeah, $20 minimum wage for fast food workers, great idea. And then they all bitch and complain when they can't sit there and pay for fast food, or they bitch and complain that fast food's so expensive. God, why would that be? Why would the cost of a burger, the labor alone, be basically 1/3 of the cost of the burger? Why would that happen? It drives me up a wall, dude. It drives me up a wall that people can't figure out basic stuff. I'm not a gem. I'm not saying I'm a savant. I'm not better than anybody else. But when it comes to like basic things, I think we can all get around the fact that when you charge labor prices, or you increase labor prices up and you charge it back to the consumer, that causes things to be more expensive. Like I don't feel like this is some rocket science. You know what I mean? It's like stuff we can all get around. I don't know, maybe the fact that we don't want terrorists in this country. Maybe the fact that when you increase wages for people, the price of that product of which they're selling is going to go up as well. It has to get passed on some way, shape, or form to somebody. And you know that the people in the corporate world aren't going to inherit that cost. Some of them can, but ultimately it's going to be passed on to you or I. Like there's things I say on this channel, if you notice, they're not super deep, right? They're things that we can all get around. Like I don't really want fentanyl to pour across our border and kill thousands of Americans, regardless of whether Democrat or Republican. I don't want our businesses being ran into by criminals with these smash and grabs. Like this is stuff that we can all get behind. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily even conservative Republican thinking. It's just like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, crime isn't good. Yeah, we shouldn't allow crime to flourish in states and in countries around the world. Like we shouldn't allow this stuff to happen. The Democrat-controlled legislature is now scrambling to delay the law, which is set to take effect on June 1st and would start phasing in a $25 minimum wage for healthcare workers by 2028. The state has predicted the new minimum wage law would likely cost another $4 billion. This dude blew $100 billion surplus or $58 billion in debt. This dude turned $100 billion surplus into a $58 billion deficit. It shows you everything you need to know in terms of California and how Democrats run things, you guys. If you put them in office, they will drive this country into the ground. You see it with Joe Biden. If Kamala Harris was elected, she already did with the state of California. Gavin Newsom wanted to run for office. Adam Schiff is in Congress. Nancy Pelosi's in Congress. There's a theme here with these Democrats sucking at their job, and somehow they get put up in the highest levels of office. Well, speaking of Democrats sucking at their job, well, their ideology sucks as well. So the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, hosted a 5 affinity graduation events earlier this month. Campus reform reported, including celebrations for Asian and Pacific Americans, Latinx, Native American, and African American LGBT students. Now, if you're confused, well, Brad, what does that really mean? That seems kind of like wordy in my opinion, like affinity. These are just segregated graduations. The Democrat Party is for segregation. Now, you'll read in the history books like, oh, well, Democrats were for removing segregation and all these other things. Folks, all the civil rights stuff that you see was pretty much put forward by Republicans. If you didn't have the Republican votes, because Republican votes far outweigh Democrat votes, you wouldn't have a lot of the stuff you see in terms of freedoms for black people or other ethnicities. It really doesn't matter who you're talking about. Civil rights kind of expands to everybody. So this stuff here is insane and always has been a cornerstone of the Democrat Party to want this type of stuff because race is a cornerstone. They believe through their party and their ideology that race is woven through all fabrics of life, and that through that, if say you are a racist, that because you are just white, that you can't actually remove racism because of the fact that you're white. Now, we've covered this at length, at nauseum. It's also in my book, Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. But please be aware of the toxic ideology of the Democrat Party and how they like this kind of stuff, segregating people. It's insane to segregate people based on race. It is wild. We had a massive movement to stop this from taking place, and Democrats are like, all for it, awesome. Shouldn't be surprised. Please join us for our Affinity graduation sponsored by Student Diversity Programs. It's all about diversity. You heard it from Karine Jean-Pierre. They want to pump the Supreme Court full of diversity hires that are representative of the population of the United States. They're idiots. I care more about somebody's character and what's going on in their head than I do about their skin color and their race. I don't think that has anything to do with absolutely anything. We said that time and time again here on the show because I know these leftists are going to come out and go, you're a racist, you're a bigot, you're a sexist and homophobe. I'm none of those things. I just want to be left the hell alone, and I want for Democrats to get their head on straight and vote in the right direction so that we don't have crime, so that people of all races and ethnicities and backgrounds can have freedom and liberty. But there's a constant theme here where Democrats want to limit our freedoms and our liberties. I've always said anytime a law goes into effect, or at least it's being proposed, always ask yourself, how does this limit my fellow countrymen's liberties and freedoms? How does this have ramifications for my fellow countrymen and women? That's what we should always be asking ourselves, because if you notice, the more laws that get put in place, because you got some idiots that were not put forward or elected, sit there and chisel away at our freedoms and our liberties. And we see that in all facets of government. By recognizing and honoring different cultural traditions and themes, the celebrations create spaces where students can feel proud of their heritage and share it with others. Well, why can't you just share it with the people that are around you? Why do you have to share it specifically with your heritage? This is how you divide a country, you guys. This isn't about unifying, that Joe Biden said in his inaugural address. This isn't about bringing honor to America. This isn't about bringing hope back to the American dream and the American people and our social fabric of sewing it back together again because Barack Obama tore it. You have a people here, an entire ideology that does nothing want to divide this country. And somebody might say, well, Brad, isn't your show all about hounding Democrats? Absolutely. But I don't want to divide Democrats. I want to bring us together because I think, again, the things that I'm talking about here on the show of crime, illegal migration, the economy, inflation, foreign policy, domestic policy, I think there's things that we can all get around that benefit all of us, regardless of whether we're Democrat or American. It just so happens the Democrat Party keeps voting in things and policies that are hurting us as an entire country. Well, we got this here. We're going to just move on here because I'm going on more rants here. We're going to keep it together, Brad. So if you recall, there's the whole shebang going on in Gaza. All right. And Joe Biden builds this pier. And I said the pier wasn't just about for humanitarian aid. The pier wasn't just about bringing in food, water, and all this stuff to the Palestinians. It wasn't about that. It was also about, I think at one point, bringing in ships to sit there and remove these people from the country and bring them into our country. And we actually were right. As far as I'm aware, we're the first show on YouTube to acknowledge the fact that that was the end goal. And it came out a week later that it was, in fact, the end goal. We got timestamps, baby. We got the video catalog to prove it. Well, what happened here with the pier is it broke. It fell apart. So the U.S. Department of Defense said on Tuesday that it has been forced to halt the use of President Joe Biden's $320 million pier that you paid for. Just lovely in Gaza because it's fallen apart. By the way, we did reporting last week that pretty much none of the food that was coming through this actually went to the people of Gaza, the Palestinians. It was sold on the black market or was just sitting there waiting. It never got to them. And we got that from the U.S. military ourselves. And then Jake Sullivan, during the White House press briefing last week, was asked about this aid and this food. And he told us, no, it's getting out there. It's getting to the people. So you have the U.S. military saying one thing, and then you have Jake Sullivan of the Biden administration saying something completely different. Truly astonishing stuff. I believe our military. I'm not going to believe anything from the Biden administration. The Pentagon's deputy press secretary said at a press conference, that the pier was damaged and sections of the pier need rebuilding and repairing. Now, I knew there was tough seas taking place because even some of our vessels got washed ashore. And it said a perfect storm of high seas states. The U.S. military will remove the pier from Gaza and bring it to Israel so it can be fixed and reconstructed, which is expected to take at least a week. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's terrible because, like, people are starving and there is a famine taking place. And I'm not laughing because of that. I think let's just fly the stuff in for now. People need to be fed. But my question has always been, why is there not many other countries doing what we're doing? Why is it consistently the American flag, meaning on the airplanes, flying over these places, dropping food? Why am I not seeing all these other countries contributing 10 billion, 100 billion, whatever it is, to the situation in Gaza? It's really strange to me how the Palestinians aren't being let into the other Arab nations. I find it really, really weird that no other Muslims want to take in these people. I find it really weird that not one country wants to sit there and help these Palestinians. It's very odd to me. And they've come out and said why, but we got to be careful on YouTube. And also, I get death threats from people whenever I say things that's pure truth about what's actually taking place there. I'm not even picking sides. I said I tend to lean more towards Israel because you had the Palestinians supporting Hamas, the elected officials of the government, go in there and commit a terrorist attack, basically the Israelis 9/11 upon them, and now they're all pissed because they're getting their asses kicked, as you'd expect to happen, which is what happened to the Taliban in Afghanistan, what happened to ISIS when they sat there and fucked around to find out. I'm not for war. I think war is terrible. I can only be so clear. But it does piss me off when people are shocked when terrible things happen and consequences are enabled through somebody else's actions, that they're astonished when something happens to them. Like, what did you think was going to happen? That's always been my question. Like, what did you think was going to happen when you sat there and massacred 1,200 people? Well, it's not equivalent. When does equivalent ever happen in war? When does that happen? Like because you punch somebody in the face, they just deserve to only punch you back in the face, or do you deserve to get your ass kicked? That's the question. I'm not saying what should happen to the Palestinians. I'm not for 30,000 deaths, 50,000 deaths, or whatever's happening. But again, there's consequence to all this. And there's a consequence to everything, unfortunately. I wish it never happened. I would love there to be peace and harmony between the two people. I don't think it's ever going to happen. But terrible stuff taking place. We need to get food and water to them. Just fly it in, Joe. Stop this pier. Stop building it. We could save, that could be $320 million worth of food that was just spent on building a pier. Fly it in, and hopefully they can figure it out with boots on the ground. Now, lastly, this one's going to get you fired up. And I don't want to say I saved the best for last, but the Biden administration is urging UK and France not to censure Iran over growing nuclear program. So the Biden administration is urging the UK and France not to formally rebuke for its expanding nuclear program, not to rebuke Iran for its expanding nuclear program at the upcoming International Atomic Energy Agency board meeting. This is insane. This is an administration, specifically Joe Biden himself when he was vice president, that basically allowed for the Iranians to arm themselves with uranium that would lead them to getting a nuclear weapon, which is why Thomas Sowell, one of the greatest people out there, one of the greatest minds of our time, even said that, in his opinion, Barack Obama is the worst president in American history because of that deal. I think Joe Biden is worse because I think Joe Biden is allowing, which we're seeing here, the uranium enrichment of Iran that wants to wipe Western civilization off the face of the earth. So the administration is also likely to abstain from voting on censure to avoid further destabilizing Iran. This all comes from the article, by the way. Especially after the death of the Iranian president. Despite the pressures, the administration is increasing sanctions and isolating Iran internationally, while advocating for European nations to impose stricter measures, such as removing regime banks and designating the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist group. Critics, including House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Michael McCaul and Representative Mike Waltz, argue that the approach undermines efforts to hold Iran accountable. Correct. And the IAEA has reported that Iran is enriching uranium to levels close to weapons grade, raising concerns about the potential for nuclear weapon development. Without significant cooperation from Iran, international sanctions and possible UN Security Council actions are anticipated, though vetoes from Russia and China could complicate this because Russia and China are in bed with the Iranians. They're all utilizing our southern border to possibly commit terrorist attacks. They're all utilizing one another to sit there and have Iran become a nuclear power that wants to wipe Iran and the United States off the face of the earth. And the Biden administration is enabling this crap, going, well, somebody died, so let's be... The guys that died, folks, are responsible for a lot of people's deaths. They're not exactly the greatest people, but this is how the Democrats work. This is how the Biden administration works. It's terrible because they had families. They had families. I'm not saying it's not like it's not a great thing that they died, but what I'm saying is you don't need to go out of your way to sit there and go, well, we're sorry for the mourning, the loss of the Iranian, No. The Iranians, that government, the Ayatollah, the terrorist organizations that they fund want to hurt you. They want to harm you, regardless of whether you're Democrat or Republican. I don't know why Democrats can't get that through their thick skull. Like, well, not all of them are bad. I agree, not all of them are bad. Some of the Iranians absolutely love America. Some Iranians want to flee from their country and come here. They want to do it the legal way. Some of them are illegal. But what we need to be aware of is that we're not entitled to bring in everybody who sits there and has a rough life. We get to pick and choose as a country who we want to allow to come into this country and better this country, as long as they want to assimilate and make this country a better place. So I think you're all aware of what I'm talking about, what I mean. You can read between the lines. And as always, again, if you want to support the show, we do have a membership over here, folks. 99 cents a month, not a day. That is not a I'm not mixing it up. 99 cents a month. But you do not have to give your hard-earned money. It is just there for those that want to support the show. There's a $4.99 and a $9.99 option if you want to go above and beyond and go crazy. But the most important part is that we hit that like button, leave us a comment down below, and watch this video all the way through. That's what really does help the analytics, and that will push YouTube, again, to send our videos out to new viewers who haven't seen our content or our channel. So basically, we're bypassing all that shadow banning, and hopefully the algorithm, the robot, will sit there and deviate away from that and send our videos, again, out there to a more broad and bigger audience, and that will help support the show. So with that being said, folks, hit that like and subscribe button. Watch this video again if you can. Just pop that bad boy on mute. Leave us a comment down below. Your help and support would be greatly appreciated. I'll see you next time here on The Bo Brad Show.